I want to talk about our next topic, legislation that stops women from getting divorced when they're pregnant. And I'm a little bit annoyed. Like I just quickly Googled it. There's like 5 states that have this law.
What are the states?
Oh
This is
dear.
this is madness. So it's Missouri, Arizona, Arkansas, California, and
What?
Texas.
California.
California.
You know what? It's because they have no fault divorce to the extreme, and you have to split your assets 50-50 in California, and all the Hollywood dudes are upset. Rich dudes are upset. We
Yeah.
lived in Santa Barbara County where Michael Douglas is from, and he was the reason that his divorce was the first real no fault divorce. He had to give his wife, even though he had to give her 50% of his, no, he had to give her almost all of his savings. And that's why no fault divorce was created in California. And he went broke because of it. No, because they didn't have no fault divorce or something there. They basically, at the time, the guy would just have to give, like, the richer person had to give like everything over to the other person.
Yeah, that seems fair. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? That there's 5 states where you can't get divorced when you're pregnant. That's
Yeah, again, it's all a question of who has the power, who has the control, who gets to decide.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise. So California doesn't surprise me because it's all these guys who have to do these big divorces, and they don't want to have to pay up.
Well, maybe we're looking, yeah, right. I'm going to divorce this woman before I have to pay for the child. Is that what the rationale is then? I
No,
guess,
it's this woman's pregnant with my child. Um, I'm going to force her to stay with me so that I don't have to divorce her.
well, this is interesting because I think you can see it from two different points of view. If on the one side, the woman who is at the most vulnerable state she will ever be in her life, I know what it feels like. I've been pregnant twice, and you feel so vulnerable. You can't do very much for yourself. And at this moment, for a man to say, "I think I'm going to divorce her because she's a pain in the neck" and so forth. So, on from that point of view, I can sympathize with a pregnant woman who says, "You're running out on me now, excuse me." But on the other side, if you're the woman who is, for you want to escape an abusive marriage or something, you want the right to be able to escape with your unborn child and start a new life. So there's some conflict there that I don't, I don't know. I think again, it's a very personal kind of decision, isn't it?
yeah, and I just can't even believe this that there are about 6 states that they don't have this rule, but if you're pregnant, your divorce will take longer than what it normally would. So in Alabama, Delaware, Hawaii, Indiana, Maine, Mississippi, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Wyoming, that if you're pregnant, your divorce will be just a little longer than if you weren't pregnant. I think one of the things that's really surprising to me since I've been working with the Women's Caucus, and since all these things have been happening with the fall of Roe, is just how many laws there are to control what women do.
Yeah.
This is, I think it's not that we're misled, it's just that we don't know about all these rules because a lot of them just haven't come up because of Roe, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
these laws have been on the books. The ban on divorce in Missouri, I think it is. Missouri has been
Yeah.
on the books since the 70s, and it's now all of these things are becoming issues again. That's true. Um, other things, even from the 19th century, these ancient rules and laws and all that are waking up like some kind of zombie laws
Yeah,
from the past,
yeah.
all
They're
because of the fall of Rome.
Yeah, all because of the fall of Roe. And so if we want to keep our freedom as women, and that is just the freedom to live as a human being, it's not something special, it's not something special. The freedom will allow us to, we have to vote. We just
Mm.
have to vote. And we have to vote like our lives depended on it, because it does. And I'm actually I'm actually a little bit frightened for the future of our daughters and their daughters if we can't solve this. Um, who wants to be, in the Middle Ages, women would get pregnant and have children, and maybe they would die in childbirth, or maybe they would die afterwards, and it wasn't really important. It was just, oh, I'll just get another wife to take care of my children, or,
Right.
as a woman, I have a value, and my value is more than my uterus and my ability to breed. Um, we're not animals. We're
But
people.
we're of an age, we were fortunately born into an age where it was not even like our mothers, and certainly not our grandmothers, where we were raised to believe we had as much value as our brothers did. But we know that our mothers couldn't get a credit card on their
Yeah.
own. They couldn't work on their own. As soon as they were pregnant, they were fired from their jobs. They had no security. And if you go back to our grandmothers and great grandmothers, they couldn't even vote. So, and all the laws said they couldn't own property in their own name. They were transferred from the ownership of the father to the ownership of the husband. I used to think that this um, ritual in a marriage, of this charming, lovely ritual of the father giving away the bride,
Mhm.
walking her down the aisle and giving her hand to the groom. I'd always thought that was such a lovely, charming gesture. But then I discovered that it wasn't a gesture. It was a legal, contractual um,
Yes.
situation. He was legally giving this hand from his own ownership and control to the ownership and control of the new husband. So it made the whole ritual much less charming for me when
Yeah.
I understood that. So that's
Yeah.
where a lot of these kinds of rules have their basis. Again, who controls this female?
Yes. Who controls us? It's interesting that you mentioned the ritual of walking your daughter down the aisle and giving her away. I was watching something about purity balls yesterday,
Oh,
and they give a girl a ring. I mean, okay, I'm married. I don't even wear a ring. So I'm I'm already a bad one. But okay, neither my husband and I have rings, but um that they give the daughter a ring and make her pledge to keep herself pure um till she's married. And
mhm.
then at that time, I mean, that's something that they mentioned, that then he'll be her ring, the ring, her father gives her this ring, and then when she gets married, it'll be replaced by the ring from her husband. And I was totally disgusted by that.
It sounds sick to me. It
Yeah,
sounds like a weird cult kind of a strange thing.
yeah, it
Because we
is.
were born in an era, fortunately, where we know that we have our own worth. And
Yeah.
this idea of ownership of the property is it's like owning a cow or something like that, your prime acreage of land, of farm, your most fertile land or something like that. It just sounds
Yes.
so,
Your most fertile land. Yes,
yeah,
that's about right.
it's
Yeah.
vulgar to me.
Yeah.
There's it isn't, I don't know, there's nothing. It just sounds primitive, actually.
It
To
it
be
is. It is
frank.
very primitive, and we have to move on from these primitive things and become modern.
We are
dare I
sophi-
say.
we are sophisticated, educated women. And the idea that we're sliding back into an era where brilliant women had to hide behind their husbands. I know, Angela, you and I have talked so much about these brilliant women who had to change their name so they could publish. You know, anything that you
Mhm.
see in literature that's anonymous is very likely written by a woman, of
Yes.
course.
Or
Women
the
who are behind
fact,
their men's research and science.
yeah, or the fact that I recently found out, I didn't know this, that the Brooklyn Bridge was built by a woman. She was the lead engineer.
Mm.
Yeah, and that her husband was an engineer, but he got sick. And so, you know, instead of scrapping the project, that she took over and she started running everything. So when they actually opened the bridge, it was her that did all the project management and running everything. And so, yeah, we've got to stop letting men. It's okay if women can do things too. It's really
Yeah.
okay. We don't have to, we're not taking over. We're working alongside of you
About side by
to,
side. Yeah.
yeah, to make the world a better place. And so with that, I see Shannon is having some technical difficulties, but that's okay because you'll definitely see the three of us together in the next video. So until next time,
Okay. Thanks, Angela.
thanks.